Well, welcome everybody to episode number 11 of our fall Facebook Live series here on the official Facebook home of the Covenant College Scots. I'm Andrew Mindeman, Director of Athletic Communications here at Covenant College, and tonight we're being joined by the Covenant women's basketball team in their Santa hats for the Christmas edition of our Facebook Live series. We are joined tonight by head coach Skyler Bearford. She, of course, is in her third year as head coach and has done a great job here through her first two seasons. Our player representatives tonight, we have a couple of sophomore guards. We have Ruthie Moore out of Lawrence, South Carolina. Ruthie had a tremendous freshman year last year, was fourth in the league in assists per game, and was USA South All-Academic. We also are joined by Cosette Kirsch, another sophomore out of Austin, Texas. She averaged just over 9 points per game in her freshman year last year, and she was also on the USA South All-Academic team. So welcome in the Covenant women's basketball team tonight. If this is your first time joining us on the show tonight, this is an interactive show, so if you have a question or a comment for the Covenant women's basketball team, drop it in the comments below, and we'll get to as many of those as we can throughout the show tonight. But first, we're going to start with head coach Skyler Bearford. And coach, season finally tipped off for you all this past Saturday, an exhibition game at Mercer. How excited was the team to finally get out and play someone? And what were some positives that you saw in that game on Saturday?
Yeah, so obviously it was a just great joy to get out to get and play, and especially because it was a complete surprise. Mercer happened to lose a game, and so we got the opportunity to go and play them. And obviously after practicing for 7 weeks together, we were more than ready to go play somebody else. But I think there were so many good things that we took from the game, especially getting to go against an opponent that really pushed us in every area of the floor. But I think our biggest takeaway is we've wanted to build this season a lot on our defense, and so I think that we just showed that we are really capable of that in so many different ways, and that's really exciting. And I especially just want to give a lot of credit to that to my assistant, John Jin. He's just a phenomenal coach, and he really prepared us really well. And I think just our natural gifts and abilities really fit what he is helping us do. And so it was really fun to see that working. I think another great thing was getting everybody to get on the floor, and especially since we have so many new faces, everybody getting to play in their first college basketball game, especially in just kind of a space like that, was definitely a special opportunity. And so I think, the biggest thing for us this year is just having a lot of gratitude for anything that we get, because really nothing is guaranteed. And so overall, obviously not just exciting, but a lot of good things were learned. And I think individually, we just saw certain people really step up and come to play. And so it was fun to see them kind of find their feel in a way and get that going for themselves.
Ruthie, how cool of an experience was it to play against Mercer? I understand that you actually played at that Hawkins Arena on Mercer's campus when you were in high school. Now you got to play it as a college basketball player. So how cool was that? And along with what Coach talked about, how does that game help the team prepare for the rest of the season?
It was a lot of fun. It was just really fun to wear uniforms again and just remember what a basketball game is like. And it was really cool playing on that court again. The lights were pretty bright. That was different. But I think we got a lot of good things to learn from, and I think it was good to see kind of what was going well and places where we're off, and we can practice better and get a good sense of where we're at and how we'll compete against people who are more our speed.
Cosette, for you, this was a question that kind of came in on our Instagram account earlier today. Men's basketball team and women's basketball teams are the only students on campus right now. Covenant finished up the semester back at Thanksgiving. So we're kind of in this bubble where you're on campus, but you're not having to do any school. You're preparing to play basketball games, but you're in this COVID reality that we live in now. So what does a normal day look like being on campus right now and playing basketball?
I think a lot of people think that because we don't have school, we're just kind of chilling, but we actually have a pretty busy schedule. So I'll just kind of give you the rundown. We'll wake up, eat breakfast, and then we do this thing called book club where we split into different groups and we go through a book together. It's kind of like an inspirational book. And then after that, we normally have a good 2 hours of practice where we'll either go through like offenses or shooting. It's more chill. And then we'll eat lunch together, and then we'll go into a lift. And then after our lift, we have like a good 2 to 3 hours of hard, intense practice where we go through everything full court. After that, we normally stretch out a little bit, and then we'll go back to the room and like shower, eat together. And then we normally do like a team activity, which is normally Christmas themed. And we do a lot of games together, and like we watched a basketball game. It's a lot of fun.
Very good. I see Coach nodding her head on the tough practices. I can believe that. Coach, you mentioned all your newcomers that you have. Everybody got to play that was available on Saturday, get their first taste of college basketball. You brought in 14 newcomers this year, which is an incredible number. When you're out recruiting, what kind of characteristics are you looking for in those future Scots?
Well, I think when we talk about the number that we brought in, I think the first thing to mention is just that the girls who are in our program are incredible people. And I think that really great people want to be around other really great people. And so I'm really thankful for them. I think coaches get a lot of credit for recruiting, but for us, it's really our players who deserve a lot of the credit for that, just making people feel welcome and making connections and just honestly loving girls who are now their teammates before they even got here really well. So I'm really thankful for them that. And but I think when we're out recruiting, the first thing, of course, because we're Covenant, but even more so is looking for someone who wants to grow in their relationship with Christ. So we like to talk about it like you have to be competitive, but competing is really just a growth mindset. So that needs to be spiritually, academically, and then also athletically. But I really think that's true. I think Covenant does demand a lot of its students in a really good way. I don't think you can be stagnant here in any part of your life. And so looking for those things, but specifically on the court, obviously there's certain things depending on the position, but we are a team that likes to get up and down and we want to press. And that's kind of always been the vision and the goal of this program, to be somebody that can play a lot of people. So there's kind of two big things of that. One would be someone who's a great teammate. I can go and see a lot of really good players, but it's different when you see a player who you can tell is genuinely celebrating their teammates and making them better, either by the way that they're playing or how they're reacting to what's going on around them. And then obviously players that want to work really, really hard, because to be a team that presses and gets up, and even just in our half court defense pressures, like you have to want that. It takes heart and grit. And so especially young women who in high school, where not tons of high school programs, I would say, always play that way, but they're trying to do that on their own. That's something we might recognize, or just their high school system might fit a little bit of what we do. But also, and I think Ruthie and Cozy are great examples of this, but really competitive. Our team over the last year has become extremely competitive. We really can't do anything for fun anymore. We try, but it's always very competitive, which is pretty funny, to be honest, considering not that last year's team was not, but this team is different, and that's something we set out to get. But it's really fun. But I think you can tell when a player takes a lot of pride in like their own, whether that's going for a loose ball or just when they're willing to do those things that not everybody's willing to do. So I think there's a lot of factors. But I think when we get young women who are focused on those things, then all the other things come along. And, for us, I think even in recruiting, we have been very blessed to get people that also just honestly really want to do school really, really well. And obviously Cozy and Ruthie being on the all academic team are a great example. But again, that's just a part of our culture. So you can't on our team slack in those areas, because it's just not what we do. Like after practice, they're all going to do their homework and that kind of stuff. So obviously, like, you're probably going to go do that if that's what your friends are doing, I think. So it's just that factor of people influencing people in that way.
Ruthie and Cosette, you're not that far removed from your own recruiting process a couple of years ago. I want to get your input as to what were some of the deciding factors that led you to come to Covenant. Ruthie, we'll start with you. I know you have a deep family connection to Covenant, but what was it about the women's basketball team and the school in general that led you to come here?
Yeah, I'd say family was a big part of it, but I think I just love the school even if my family wasn't here. And it's really, I think, something I've learned about the program and really athletics as a whole is just worshiping through your sport. And that's, I think, a great opportunity that this school gives you that is not really at anywhere else. And so I really value that.
Cosette, what were some deciding factors that led you to come to Covenant?
When I was looking for a basketball team, I was looking for a team that was very competitive but also cared about things outside of basketball. And I found that Covenant was very much so in that direction. When I met all the players that were here, they were all seniors, so most of them graduated, well, except for Hannah and Nicole. But anyways, when I met all of them, they were super united, and I could tell they all loved each other so much and loved the team and loved the school. And that really drew me to the team because a lot of other schools I visited, the players weren't very intentional about getting to know the recruits. And so I thought that was super special. And then also the coaching staff was super intentional about recruiting, and I just knew they knew a lot about basketball, and they also cared a lot about everyone, both on and off the court, and pushing each of us to be the best people we can be and follow Christ even more, and then also the best team we can be together. So it's a combination of all of those things.
Very good. We had a couple of submitted questions come in. We had one come in on Instagram today. Lizzie Simons, I think Coach may know who she is. She wants to know in this very weird 2020 year that we've had, what is something that you all are thankful for this season? Coach, we'll start with you.
Well, this is one of our principles of our program or foundation.
Mm-hmm.
So I just want to say today, I am so thankful for our athletic training staff. I want to give them a huge shout out. Ryan and Lydia. Ryan is doing so much to figure out our testing. Lydia is our trainer, and she was a former college basketball player, and she just knows so much. And they just do things cutting edge. They're not stagnant, and they really love reading research and things we would not enjoy, but they just go above and beyond. And I feel sometimes we move and change things around and we kind of forget, but I feel just being thankful for them because basketball is a really tough sport. And Ruthie and Cozy both know that it's hard on your body, especially to play the way we do. And they just do such an awesome job taking care of us. So I'm thankful for them today.
Cozy, what's something you're thankful for?
I'm really thankful for the team and how fun everyone is. I think we were all a little scared coming into the season, knowing that it was going to be a ton of practices and maybe no games. But everyone was super bought in, and we were kind of even if we don't have a game, we're going to get as good as we can be and just have the most fun. And I just think the last 7 weeks of practice have been awesome, and everyone has made it super fun.
Ruthie, what about you?
Yeah, I was thinking pretty much exactly what Cosette said. I've just been so thankful that each of the people who have come onto our team have been so committed and so excited to do whatever it is we're doing, and they've just made it so much fun, and it's been really, really great. And it's kind of tough to do 7 weeks of practice, but it was the best part of my day every single day.
Freshmen have a lot of energy. It helps to lift the spirits.
All right. We also had another question come in. Ruthie, I'm going to direct this one to you because it's from this Sandy Moore person I think you're familiar with. Wants to know, what was your favorite win from last year?
The Grange was senior day, right?
Yes. Yep.
Definitely that one, because they had beaten us earlier in the season, and also because Hannah had 19 in the first half, and it was close, and it just felt so good to win at home, and Margot's last game, and they had beaten us before, so it was like revenge, and it was great.
Yeah, Hannah went off that game. I think she had like 26 or 27 points. And we had the local news team at the game as well. One of the local NBC affiliates was doing a story, and they came to get some footage, and they came to that game. I'm like, this is the best game to come to because y'all really played well that game. I would agree that would be one of my favorite wins from last year as well. Let's shift gears a little bit now. Let's talk about the season ahead. This week, you have your regular season opener. You're going to play 3 games in 3 days down at Birmingham Southern in their annual classic. The opponents for those 3 games are changing a little bit, as we found out today. But Coach, walk us through those 3 games. What are you expecting out of your team as they officially open up the regular season later this week?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a lot of what we talked about before. Talked about before in Mercer is, first and foremost, is going out and playing really hard. And we always say that, but I think, we measure something in our program called passion plays, which is some things that don't actually get statted, like deflections and charges and out of area rebounds. And I think for me, a lot of the way that we want to play starts there and with those things. And so I'd say that is honestly an expectation that we meet our goal for those every single game, no matter what, because I think that that's something that we can control. But I mean, I'm just really, really looking forward to this because, as everyone said, but I just think our team is incredibly resilient. Like 7 weeks of practice, I don't know, just thinking of my friends and all the people I knew who played, like I just cannot imagine doing that. And so just the biggest thing for us as a younger team is learning how to take something we learned from the day before and listen and apply it the next day. And I think the quicker any team can grow in their ability to listen or you could say learn, whatever, from one game to the next is the best indicator of how their season is going to go. So I think in 3 days, it's really quick turnaround. So it's really good because you have a chance, no matter what happens, to come out the next night and go and do that. But also it's a chance to say, hey, can we listen, learn, and use some of our other stuff besides just getting on the floor and working this out, but also, the film that we use, some of our teaching stuff that we do, and do things that way. So I think our team is going to play great. I have no doubts. I really don't. I think this team is prepared so well for everything that can come our way, and I think that they're ready to rise to any occasion. But I think for our program this year, the biggest growth step for us is being able to close or finish close games. And so that's really my hope, that we have those opportunities, whether it's in quarters or just the whole game. Obviously, that's great. Rather just be up and finish. But those things I think are our big growth opportunity and steps. So that's kind of my hope and what I see happening down there this week.
The updated schedule is on athletics.covenant.edu. We had game time changes and opponent changes for Thursday and Friday, still playing Birmingham Southern on Wednesday. Coach, you kind of answered my next question, which was talking about the season in general. Any specific expectations or goals you want to tack on to what you just talked about?
I think that the USA South tournament is in a bit of a change, but I think from the beginning we've said for our program, our goal is to be hosting a game by the end of this season. That's our big goal. I think that would show a lot of growth for us, but we're actually having our team goal setting meeting tomorrow, so we don't have our specifics, but I can tell you. But like I said, I think, the biggest thing for us, though, beyond all the things we've said, is playing together. That is just like a hallmark of our program. It always has been. And we're doing some new things offensively. We're doing some new things defensively. But the question is going to be, how can this team mold and be shaped together to play no matter which 5 are in? Because that's constantly changing. And when you play the way we do, we have to sub a little bit. So, which is really good. But so I think just seeing that come together and seeing us be all for each other and trust each other. And honestly, I think there's, something really special about having a team that other people would call young, because we can learn and grow and build, but it's also like we can grow up fast. And I think because our foundation and our relationships are rooted in Christ, we do have pretty deep and united relationships. And that's something that's always been true of this program. So like, Coach has said that, but just building on that and the fact that that's who we are, no matter what comes our way.
Because I think Coach has touched on this a little bit, but you have all of these newcomers on the team. How has the team been able to gel this fall? I know you've been practicing since October 1st. And that probably helps a little bit. But walk us through what the team chemistry looks like at this point of the season.
I was going to say practice has definitely been a big part of that, and just working on like spacing and knowing everyone's roles and what we're doing and how everyone likes to play. So that's been really big. And I think it's going really well, but it's definitely something that we'll continue to improve on as we start playing games. And then just like off the court, just spending tons of time together, especially over Christmas break, I think has helped with that. We've gotten to know each other's like personalities better and what everyone likes and how people react to certain things. So I think that'll translate over onto the court, just the way that we love each other and the way that we take the time to get to know each other better and know what each of our needs are.
Ruthie, you and Cosette and the rest of the freshman class had a really good year last year. How do you all improve upon that this season?
Yeah, I think like the biggest thing for the sophomores, like what our team needs from us has been leadership. And like obviously we can improve a lot with our skills and stuff, but I think in order for our team to be great, like that's what they really need from us. And so that's something we've been working on a lot, and I think we've done a pretty good job. But yeah, I'd say that's our biggest focus, is just how we can lead all these people.
All right, well, y'all are in Santa hats, so I'm going to ask a question here. Give me your favorite Christmas tradition that you do with your family. Coach, let's start with you. What's your favorite thing? You can unmute it. Hey. Well. All right, Ruthie, we'll start with you as Coach tries to figure out her unmuting.
So probably my favorite thing we do is we eat Chinese on Christmas Eve.
Okay. All right. Cosette, what about you?
We always make these homemade cinnamon rolls that are like the best cinnamon rolls on the face of the earth. And I think that and just hanging out with family.
Did you ask our tradition, Andrew? My thing was like going crazy.
Yeah.
I don't know.
So, favorite Christmas family tradition that you have done before? What's your favorite thing?
Oh, okay. Probably our just Christmas breakfast brunch. We're obviously a very food motivated team by all these food answers, but I will say food does bring you together. It's a big part of traditions. But for me, yeah, our just Christmas breakfast brunch that we have is a big one for me.
Cosette, I love cinnamon rolls, so that is right up my alley. I love that answer. That's perfect. That's great. We want to thank the Covenant women's basketball team for joining us tonight. We're looking forward to a wonderful 2020-21 season out of the Scots. We can't wait for them to come back to Barnes PE Center and play some games here at home. But in the meantime, we'll be looking forward to watching them play on the road later this week in Birmingham. Again, the schedule has changed a little bit. To get an updated schedule on that, go to athletics.covenant.edu and navigate over to the women's basketball page. Once again, we want to thank head coach Skyler Bearford, Ruthie Moore, and Cosette Kirsch for joining us tonight. This is our final Facebook Live episode of the fall. So we want to thank all of our audience for joining us each and every week and for following along. To go back and watch any of these episodes, just go to our Facebook page and look at the videos, or you can navigate over to our official YouTube account and find them there. Want to appreciate everyone for joining us tonight and hope everyone has a great night. Thanks, everyone.